By 1962, Godzilla had been in hibernation for 7 years, and in that time, Toho Studio had built an impressive library of kaiju films, nearly all of which had proven successful. And so to celebrate the studio's 30th anniversary, Toho released King Kong vs. Godzilla, which finally brought the Big G back into the spotlight to face off against the very monster that inspired his creation. It was a rivalry of the ages, East against West, two icons battling it out for supremacy. King Kong vs. Godzilla is basically a Japanese remake of the 1933 classic merged with a sequel to Godzilla Raids Again. At the same time that Godzilla re-emerges from the ice, an expedition funded by the fictional Pacific Pharmaceuticals sets out to the mysterious Faroe Island to capture the monster that the natives worship, which turns out to be the giant ape Kong. Kong escapes, and with Godzilla rampaging through Japan, it becomes only a matter of time before the two collide for the ultimate battle. This movie marked the true beginning of Godzilla's transition towards being light and campy. Despite still being a destructive force, he is given an energetic, almost jovial personality, relishing in the pain and destruction he causes and clapping his hands like an overexcited child. Conversely, Kong is a more subdued, grizzled character, prone to getting wasted and passing out. These monsters have distinct personalities, and it makes for an amusing and entertaining dynamic when the two cross paths. This lighthearted tone extends to the human cast as well. The characters are exaggerated and animated, reflecting the film's satirical nature. The standout is definitely Mr. Tako, played by Ishiro Arishima, who was known at the time as the Japanese Charlie Chaplin, and consequently gets many of the film's biggest laughs. His character is an absurd, cartoonish caricature of a greedy businessman, so obsessed with money and publicity that he is willing to bring a giant monster to Japan to become a mascot for the company to boost ratings. It is a ridiculous plan, and the film knows it. Indeed, what might surprise some first-time viewers is how self-aware King Kong vs. Godzilla really is. Much like Mothra the previous year, the film is a satirical critique of capitalism, specifically the rise of commercialism and advertising. The entire reason Kong is brought to Japan is one giant publicity stunt, and throughout the movie, characters talk about and place bets on the two creatures as if they were famous wrestlers. The movie doesn't take its premise seriously at all, and so you have to go in with the right mindset to really appreciate what it's trying to do. This doesn't, however, mean the film doesn't deliver the goods, though. King Kong vs. Godzilla is fun, colorful, classic 60s era popcorn entertainment. Ishiro Honda, Eiji Tsuburaya, and Akira Ifukube, ostensibly the fathers of Godzilla, all return and do fantastic work. This is especially the case for Ifukube, some of whose most iconic tracks originate here. The film is also really well paced and balances the human and monster scenes in such a way that never gets boring. Kong and Godzilla both get their moments to shine, and their final fight on Mount Fuji is great for how dynamic and playful it is. Despite how fun it is, however, King Kong vs. Godzilla does have some significant issues. The biggest flaw is unfortunately Kong himself. Simply put, he looks distractingly terrible here. Everything about him comes off as incredibly cheap and fake, and as a result, you'll spend a lot of time laughing at Kong, which detracts from his screen presence. And the film retcons or outright rewrites certain established characteristics of both monsters merely for the sake of the plot. Still, King Kong vs. Godzilla is one of the most important kaiju movies ever made, not just because it brought together two of cinema's most iconic monsters, and not just because it was incredibly financially successful, both in Japan and the US, but because without it, the Godzilla franchise might not have gotten its second wind. It set the standard for all the films that followed. Thus, the longevity of the series can be credited to this film. So in many ways, Godzilla owes his decades-long career to Kong. It may not be perfect, but King Kong vs. Godzilla is a gloriously entertaining entry in the franchise that should not be missed. For more reviews and opinions on all things Godzilla, subscribe and stay tuned to Up From the Depths.